Good morning, students. We're going to go through the double bridle today. So we've got two double bridles that we can look at. So the first thing that we're going to look at would be the bits. So they can be either fixed or sliding. So the sliding means that it's slightly movable. So they can move up and down as just demonstrated. And the fixed would be that it's very solid and obviously there's not a lot of movement. So the double bridle bits are called the bradoon and the weymouth, but some people will call them the curb and the snaffle reins. So the curb rein being the one with the curb chain and the snaffle being the one that looks very similar to a snaffle. So the difference between a snaffle and a bradoon would be the side rings, because they are a lot smaller, because obviously the horse has to carry two bits in its mouth. So the double bridle would be used for either showing or dressage from elementary and above. It's not compulsory now to compete your horse with a double bridle, and the idea between the double bridles would be to define the aids in riding, so you would have your horse in the ultimate position with its head carriage. With the bits of the double bridle, you would have the bradoon bit, which can often be referred to as the snaffle bit, but you'll see that it has slightly smaller rings than a snaffle, and it's usually thinner in the mouthpiece because obviously the horse has to have two bits in its mouth. And then you have the weymouth, and the weymouth usually will have a tongue groove. Sometimes they can be a little bit deeper, which would be known as a port. And the difference between any other curb bit would be you don't have the extra rings for putting the reins on. The reins have to go on the bottom of the shank. So the shank is the edge of the bit, so the longer the shank, the more severity or action it has on the poll of the horse, so the lowering effect they would have to position and place the horse. Also, because it's known as the weymouth or the curb rein, it actually has a curb chain. For dressage you can't have anything extra on your bit, so you have to have it as it is, but you would quite often ride with a lip strap, and the lip strap stops the curb chain from moving and bouncing around too much. Now this bit is actually a sliding bit, so the mouthpiece is mobile, so you have a little bit more play in the horse's mouth, so a horse that might tend to fix on the rein or set on the rein, and obviously the bradoon bit, it has the loose ring effect. Get it round the right way. There you go. So you may be riding a horse that may be getting a little bit heavy in the hand, or may just need a little bit more movement, a bit more play with its mouth. So this bit is a fixed bit, so you can see there's no mobility, no play with the bit at all. Still a bradoon and a weymouth, still has the shank and the reins attached to the loop on the end, so you just have the part for the cheek piece to attach to, no area for a rein to go to direct to the mouth, and then a rein on the bottom loop. You still have your curb chain and your lip strap, but you don't have any sort of as much mobility, so this may be for a horse that needs to take the rein and seek the rein more forward. Now when you have it in the horse's mouth, you also have it so the bradoon rein hangs over the top of the weymouth rein. So the reins attached to the bradoon and the weymouth, you will often find that the bradoon rein is much thicker than the weymouth rein, because the idea would be to encourage the rider to carry and ride from that contact. You will also find that on the thinner rein, so the weymouth rein, it can often be just stitched rather than have a buckle, and that would be to dissuade your rider from trying to put on a martingale. And also, if you were carrying it and riding, you could often have a keeper in the middle, and if we have a look at this one has a keeper that you can draw down the horse's neck, so when you're doing your stretching to warm up and cool down, you can just rest the curb rein, the weymouth rein on the horse's neck, and just ride purely off the bradoon or the snaffle. So when you go to fit the double bridle, just check that you've got a sort of estimated correct length up against the horse's face. The same as fitting any other bridle, you'd make sure that you undo all the keepers just in case you need to make any changes. And as you're dealing with the horse's head, you need to make sure that the horse is untied, but you have still got control of it. And then you want to place the reins over the horse's neck. And then, as you would when you're fitting any other bridle, you undo the head collar and put that round the horse's neck as well. And then, because you're dealing with two bits, I usually flick the noseband up and over the headpiece so it's just out of the way, so it's just easier to manage the bits and fit the bridle onto the horse. Make sure that the bradoon bit is led over the Weymouth bit. That's it. And then you put the bridle on confidently like you would fit any bridle to a horse. So you want to be fairly efficient and confident when you're actually doing it, because the horse is having two bits put in its mouth. That's correct. And then I would secure the noseband, because then that stops the horse from sort of opening and shutting its mouth too much, so it just sits the bits against the horse's mouth nice and still. And then you can just check that you've got your 2 wrinkles on your bradoon rein, and then your 1 wrinkle from your curb. And as we've opened the mouth, you just check that the bit doesn't fall back. And then you just secure the curb chain . And then if you have a horse that's never had a curb chain and a lip strap before, you'd want to secure the lip strap, but you should be able to put the bridle on without undoing the lip strap if you've got a horse that's quite confident. I think this is the first time Teddy's had a double bridle in. And then obviously your throat lash. And then you just decide whether you're happy with the sit and the lie of the bits, and if you are, then you tuck all your keepers in. And then you have the reins for leading, so you have the curb rein still lying over the horse's neck, and then you have the bradoon rein on the inside, so you have control to the horse's mouth. Good morning, students. We're going to go through the double bridle today. So